I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. I was just gonna defend myself from whatever this thing was. Like I told you, like I said, we're both now looking at each other like, what in the hell just happened? We're just looking at each other. He's frozen, I'm frozen, and now I can see him. And I can see him very, very clear.
When I'm conscious, I am fully aware of everything that's happening, and well, when you something's so this is the crazy. I'm gonna see if I can leave that. If you heard that, then I'm gonna leave that. Oh my gosh, this neighborhood is bad. Hi, I'm gonna tell you a story of how I almost fought with an angel. For this story, I want to note that it is obvious this wasn't an angel. This was something else, something different. But that it was similar to an angel, whatever the hell that I saw, right? So this is what happened. And this is how it happened. Like, I would say that this is not a normal story, especially because I actually trained myself to be awake in dreams, to solve some problems that I was having within my dreams that I had no control. So, one thing I did was that um, I first trained myself to be awake, conscious in my dream. So I recognize and I realize that there's a difference between dreams. To me, there's a difference between two types of dreams. There's a dream where I'm asleep. So whatever is happening in the dream, I probably have no control and I'm just seeing things happening. You, I'm seeing all the actions go by that are not necessarily from my own will. I'm experiencing something that somebody or something is trying to teach me, or I'm trying to, or that my thought process is repeating from within my dream. So that could be one of the reasons. That could be one of the reasons, but whatever was happening to me, I mean, I'm sorry, but whatever these dreams are, this type of dream, I'm not necessarily awake. I'm not necessarily in control. It's not really me there. I don't know. I'm just asleep. I'm just resting, right? But after I trained myself to be conscious, well, that is that. I suddenly am not necessarily in a dream where I'm like resting and I'm not conscious, I'm subconscious, right? So I trained myself and now I'm conscious in a dream. It's like me right now in the dream talking conscious, whether I'm awake or whether I'm in the dream, um, I'm still conscious. I'm not necessarily subconscious where I'm not noticing things happening. When I'm conscious, I am fully aware of everything that's happening, and well, when you something's so this is the crazy. I'm gonna see if I can leave that. If you heard that, then I'm gonna leave that. Oh my gosh, this neighborhood is bad. But anyways, let's move on. So as I was saying, well, uh, there's a second type of dream where I'm conscious. And when I'm conscious, oh my gosh, like a whole lot of another ano- another set of things I think tend to happen when you are conscious. A lot of different things that do not necessarily happen that way when you are subconscious. Because when you're subconscious, it's like you're asleep. Like I don't know how to explain it exactly, but when you're conscious, oh, so this is how the dream goes. I was conscious by this dream, and one thing that I also trained myself to do, which is also the second thing is that I trained myself to call God within my dreams. I was having some problems, right? But then I trained myself to call God in a whole bunch of names, but just God in my dream. And then I'm in this dream, and I'm like in a hell, and I'm conscious. I'm like waking up within the dream. I'm waking up like wait. I'm in a dream. If I'm sleeping and I'm subconscious, I don't say that. I'm just acting out whatever is happening, right? Whatever event is happening, you're just taking part of, and you it's very weird, but you're subconscious. You don't know, but you know because you're resting. It's like part of your physiology, right? But I was conscious in this dream, and I'm looking at the sky, and I'm waking up from within the dream, and I'm looking at the sky because there's like a cloud in the sky, and it's like this dark cloud, but it's not that big also, and it's like if you've seen a really tall palm, a really tall palm tree, uh, then probably at that height is where this thing was, and it was like a cloud the size of maybe like a car. So it was like that size, and it just looked weird. So and like wrongly placed. So as I'm looking at this cloud, it quickly forms into a freaking person. I kid you not, I'm conscious like I'm right here, but I'm in the dream. But I'm looking at this happening in my eyes. This thing from a cloud. I think it's a jinn because I think there are plenty of them in the earth. So I may be right for this one because look at what happens next. So this cloud turns into a freaking man, but this man has like he doesn't have legs. He has like he kept the cloud. I think from what I remember in the dream, I think he kept the cloud as legs. Everything happened pretty quickly, and it was this blue. It's just so crazy. It was this blue dude. It was this blue man. It was this blue guy. So when I say blue, it's not like he was like baby blue. He was like dark blue, and he probably had like darker spots around his body. Not spots, like if you think about nature, the way that you would have darker spots within your body, where would your skin will be darker? In those same spots, in those same areas, is where he had darker spots, lines or something, or the bags in the eyes were darker blue. If it was very dark, it looked black. That's how blue and black and blue this guy looked. It wasn't a happy blue, so but he wasn't ugly as well. Sorry. So I tell you one thing. He kind of not exactly like not entirely exactly, but he looked kind of like the mutant that is blue and that resembles a gargoyle that could go from space to space, that can jump from space to space and um, teletransport like that. It looks just like that guy, but he didn't have yellow eyes. I'll tell you soon what exactly that I saw. He was also from far. He just looked like a guy, right? So this guy, he's in the air over there, and I'm looking at him like, what in the hell? Like, just looking at this happening. Actually, just sorry. I am actually just looking at this happening, and as I see him, he looks at me. And when he spots me, I call upon the name of God and a whole bunch of names. Before he decides to do anything, I think it was before or, but okay, he looks at me and he opens his wings and starts flying down toward me like real quickly. He had like black gargoyle like wings. It was crazy, crazy. This big wingspan of dark wings that were probably more like, I'm gonna say, like a bat. It was probably more batty than a bird, but I'm not sure. It was just black wings that were very impressive. Like they just fling out of his like back or something. I don't know from where exactly. They just open up, and he pushes with them from where he was. He goes like, if you would take your hand and if you would make some breeze with your hand, well, that's kind of the shape that first went, and then he pushed back, and now he was flapping his wings toward me, and he was going pretty fast, and I was pretty sure that he was gonna, I don't know, he was gonna crash onto me or something, or take me. I have no idea. For sure, he wasn't gonna do something good. He was just gonna take me or kill me, one or the other, right? So I call upon the name of God as I see him coming down, and I bring him to his feet. I mean, that's what I say. I bring him to God's feet, to his feet. But it's not like I pray and I run from this creature. That's not what happened. Like, that was me right there, and I don't know why I thought this exactly at this moment in time, but I'm just gonna say that this is exactly how I am. Exactly how I am. This is what I do. I have no fear of nobody in the street. No guns. No nothing. Not even guns. So I've faced people with guns and shit like that. Not that I want to face them. Is that there's dangerous people in the streets that would take out their guns and they would fling it toward you. They would fling it toward you, and they would threaten you because this is not a good place. Because I don't need a gun. I don't need none of that, and I'm super peaceful. But if I would defend myself, then I wouldn't care about no guns, and that's what I mean. I wasn't fearful of this thing flapping its wings, coming down toward me. This blue. I don't know how to explain this guy. It was just a blue dude, a blue guy. He probably looked in his 20s. He probably looked in his 30s. I don't know. He just flying down, right? So I call upon the name of God, and like I said, I'm not afraid of nobody. But it's not that I'm not afraid. It's that I just want to defend myself. There's times where you run. There's times where you're just gonna fight. There's fight and flight. I've experienced both, and to me, this definitely felt like a fight, uh, a reflex. So as he's getting near, like he wasn't even that far. He was like a baseball park or less. Like way less, like half the distance of a baseball park or something like that. So as
Like all that happened pretty quickly because I literally thought all that pretty quickly. I did it all super quickly. I knew something was wrong with this dude, with this thing. I knew I was in a dream, but one, I wasn't waking up. So that must have been so that to me that must mean that that thing was probably keeping me from waking up. He wanted to torment me right there in my dream. He probably had access. He probably found a door within my dreams or something like that or something like that, you know. But I was experiencing that in real time. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but that's exactly what I thought. I was like, what is this thing? Like, why is he coming down? Why, I had a lot of questions, but I didn't ask a lot, many questions as I'm trying to explain to you. So as he's flying down, what did I do? As he's flying down toward me, I adopt a fighting position, and I start to roar, and I start to yell, with my mouth. Obviously, I start to do a warrior cry because I know that he's gonna get near. So that was me in real time. So what exactly was I thinking at that moment in time? What exactly did I think that I was gonna do to this thing? Well, I put my fists up in the air or my hands, but because I was, ready to fight this thing, I was ready to fight it. But what exactly did I think? Like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what did I think. Like, I'm not gonna tell you all the details about this dream, like, right in this clip, but I'm gonna tell you exactly what did I exactly thought. Well, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to throw a really heavy slug to punch at him, and if that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna disrupt his flight, and I'm just gonna go wrestling with this dude. I was gonna take him up in the air, jump it, slug him in the air, and at the same time grab him so he falls to the ground with me somehow. I'm not sure if that would have worked because you don't know how strong this thing was, this demon or something or this monster was. But the most incredible thing happened. Meters or I would say meters or feet, just a few meters, like 6, 8, 7, 8 feet from him clashing toward me. Like, I kid you not. I was about to jump. He was about to crash onto me from his flight. From his flight direction. He was coming in like a little missile. The bastard, like this bastard. That's the word I was trying to think, but I just couldn't think of this little blue. He wasn't little. He was a normal guy, but this blue bastard, this little rat, It's crazy how I laugh because I actually experienced this in real time. So, and I'm laughing because also right before we clash into like a battle, regardless of the result, right before we clash onto whatever I thought was gonna happen, the most incredible thing happens. Guess what? We both freeze. We both become paralyzed. Like not just me. I become paralyzed. I was about to kind of do what I told you I was gonna do. I was gonna jump and punch him and then grab him in the air or something like that. Something that I imagined that had a contingency because I don't know what exactly was gonna happen. But to me, at that moment, I just went to fight, right? But he freezes right in front of me with his wings wide open, and now I'm frozen. He's frozen. We're both looking at each other. We're literally both looking at each other like, what in the hell What in heaven is happening? Really? I asked myself, and that's how we looked. Because I'm telling you, this happened in real time. This dude was he was acting. You know he I it's a real dude that was trying to attack me, and something happened to the both of us that right when I was gonna strike him, and right when he was gonna crash onto me, we're now both frozen. He's frozen in midair with his wings open, and I'm frozen in a battle position with my eyes wide open. Ah! You know, I told you I was doing my battle cry right as he was gonna crash onto me. I was gonna, I was gonna go, come on, let's go, boom, and we're gonna fight. Very brave of me because this is like a creature, but that's how I am. I'm telling you, this is how I am. So So yeah, we're both looking at each other like, or looking side to side like, oh my god, oh shit, we're both frozen. Like he probably had all the power at that moment because I'm nobody, right? I'm just a human. So he probably had all the power at that moment to do something, right? But he couldn't. Like that's the thing. And I couldn't also. I couldn't also. I was frozen in midair with my fists up in the air and with my eyes wide open, with my mouth wide open, like my veins. Rah! I was yelling, about to fight like a real. What it seemed that to me it was gonna be a deadly fight. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. I was just gonna defend myself from whatever this thing was. So now, like I told you, like I said, we're both now looking at each other like, what in the hell just happened? We're just looking at each other. He's frozen, I'm frozen, and now I could see him. And I can see him very, very clear. As I look at him, this dude, like I said, like I told you in the beginning, like he had blue skin with the dark spots like that. He he had, I'm in my 30s. He had the body just like me. He had a little bit of hair. He had some abs. He was a little bit ripped, but not totally. He was a skinny guy, like not thick, and he had normal arms and all that. But his hair was long and black. So his hair fell down to his shoulders, but it was East Asian hair that it was like black. He probably had like a pointy nose, not too pointy, like just normal, like a normal guy that you would see walking around with a normal nose. But it was like more to the pointy side. He had a chiva. This guy had a goatee. He probably had a mustache goatee combo. It was black. It was dark because it was black hair. But it would be pretty dark, and it would mix with his like dark skin with his blue skin. I could see his black wings. His wings were black. I'm still not sure if they were feathers or bat wings, but it's most likely that they were more like bat wings. I think. What was more shocking to me about this bastard? Oh, and I could see his legs that were like in the shape of a cloud. Sorry. But what was the craziest thing about this bastard was when I looked into his eyes. When I saw his eyes were not normal eyes. He didn't have the white parts of the eye. His eyes were black completely. But that's not the only most craziest part that I can say about his eyes. That's not the only craziest thing. The craziest thing about his eyes is that they were like galaxy eyes, like it had like stars. His eyes were black, both eyes were all entire black, but he had like a galaxy, like stars within his eyes. It looked like if you would have a picture of stars, but it were his eyes. So I started looking at his eyes like, what? I start looking at this dude's eyes like, what in the hell is wrong with this guy's eyes? Like, it's not that it was wrong. It's like, what is this creature? But I was like, what is wrong with his eyes? Like, the hell? But it's not that it was ugly or nothing like that as well, or either. It wasn't ugly either. It was actually pretty beautiful, but as I'm looking at his eyes, then I snapped back and now we're both looking at each other again, and he just looks at me. This dude, this bastard, he just looks at me, and he puts his face straight toward me, and he frowns at me, and I could see his muscles frown from his nose, from the top of his nose, and from the bottom of his forehead. I could see his muscles go like, frown. And it's not like a really bad frown. He actually, it looked more like he frowned, right? But it it was like a soft frown. It's more like he squinted toward me. He squinted, but you and I know that he had like a little type of a frown, little type of behavior that he did right there. I'm telling you, it was a frown. Like, he was just angry at whatever happened. He was just angry. He wasn't crying about it like a little baby, but I could tell that he was very uncomfortable. He was very he was not he was just not happy that he just couldn't get to me. But it wasn't like he was expressing it with exaggeration. It looked like he squinted, and that's what I'm telling you. But I know he that's not what he felt. He was just pissed, he was just angry that he couldn't get to me. And after I take a quick look at his eyes and all that happened, and he frowned at me, then I wake up. And that's how I almost brawled with an angel. There's more to that dream, but I can tell you that dream, more about this dream, more about the aspects and all else in a different video. This is something that happened to me, and since it's such a crazy experience that I was awake in that dream and this thing was pursuing me to try to hurt me or something. So I do realize that my true self was showing at that moment. I do rely on a greater power that is greater than myself, and that's who actually saved me, right? But the bravery that I showed in this dream, the sheer craziness that I have sometimes when I face a whole bunch of the things in my life that are probably very scary like this. I tend to go head on to a whole bunch of stuff like that. I'm very hard headed like that. And that's what I showed to. That's exactly what I showed to this thing. That's probably what. I don't know. Like, I could have a lot of thoughts about it, but that's probably what God wanted to show it. That's probably what God wanted to show that thing, and that's why He probably permitted all that. I don't know. This is me just thinking. If I were God, I would be like, look at my sheep, look at my little child. He ain't afraid of you, you know. That's a warrior, and that's how I feel of how things went. I'm not perfect, but in the end, I would like to think that that I that that I acted as a warrior. So thank you for watching this video. and I'll see you on the next one. Always keep the posture of a true warrior.